I, 29F, am at a complete loss about what to do with my younger sister Emily, 24F, and her boyfriend Reggie, 26M. The situation has become increasingly tense and uncomfortable, and I feel like I'm watching a train wreck in slow motion. To give you some context, Emily and I grew up in a small town called Millbrook, population barely 5,000. Our parents, Jim and Linda, ran the local hardware store, which had been in our family for 3 generations. It was a simple life, but a good one. Emily and I shared a room until I was 14, and we were as close as sisters could be. I was the studious one, always with my nose in a book, while Emily was the free spirit, constantly coming up with wild adventures for us. When I left for college at 18, Emily was just 13. It was hard leaving her behind, but we made a pact to call each other every Sunday night, no matter what. And we kept that promise. I'd tell her about my classes, the new friends I was making, and she'd keep me updated on all the Millbrook gossip. It was during one of these calls in my junior year that Emily first told me about Dad's health issues. Apparently, Dad had been having chest pains for months but hadn't told anyone. It was only when he collapsed at the store that the truth came out. He had a minor heart attack, and suddenly our strong, invincible father seemed vulnerable. I wanted to drop out and come home, but both Dad and Mom insisted I finish my degree. So I compromised. I finished my degree in record time, taking extra classes each semester, and moved back home right after graduation. Emily was 18 by then, just starting her freshman year at the local community college. She was thrilled to have me back, and for a while it felt like old times. But things were different now. I was helping run the store while Dad recovered, and Emily was navigating college life. That's when Reggie entered the picture. Emily met Reggie at a college party. She called me the next day, gushing about this amazing guy she'd met. He was a junior, studying business, and according to Emily, he was totally different from the Millbrook boys. I was happy for her, remembering my own college romance, which had fizzled out by graduation. The first time I met Reggie was at our family's annual 4th of July barbecue. He seemed nice enough, bringing a homemade apple pie and complimenting Mom's famous potato salad. But something about him made me uneasy. I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was a look in his eyes when he thought no one was watching. A sort of calculation that didn't fit with his charming persona. Over the next few months, I started noticing little things. Reggie would make comments about Emily's clothes, suggesting she change into something more flattering before they went out. He'd check her phone when she went to the bathroom, quickly putting it down when she returned. Once I overheard him telling Emily that her dream of becoming a teacher was cute, but not very practical. I tried talking to Emily about it, but she'd brush it off. "You're just being overprotective," she'd say. Or, "Reggie just wants what's best for me." Our parents noticed too, but they were hesitant to say anything. Mom would give me worried looks when Reggie and Emily were around, but she'd shake her head when I tried to discuss it with her. Things came to a head last year at Emily's 23rd birthday party. We had planned a surprise party at our parents' house, inviting all her old high school friends. Reggie knew about the party, but told Emily he had a special evening planned for just the two of them. When Emily found out about the party, she was torn. She ended up coming for an hour, then leaving with Reggie, who spent the entire time sulking in the corner. After that, Emily started pulling away from us. She'd miss our Sunday calls, cancel plans at the last minute, always with some excuse about Reggie needing her for something. Her old friends stopped coming around, saying Emily never had time for them anymore. I was at my wit's end, watching my vibrant, independent sister turn into someone I barely recognized. But I didn't know how to help her see what was happening. The real breaking point came last week. Emily and Reggie were staying at our parents' house for the weekend, ostensibly to help with some renovations Dad wanted to do. I was there too, mostly to keep an eye on Dad and make sure he didn't overexert himself. On Saturday night, we all had dinner together. Mom had made Emily's favorite, lasagna, and for a while, everything seemed normal. We were laughing, sharing stories, almost like old times. Then Reggie started making comments about Emily's weight. "Better watch out, babe," he said, eyeing Emily's second helping of lasagna. "You know how easily you put on pounds." Emily laughed it off, but I could see the hurt in her eyes. Mom tried to change the subject, asking Reggie about his job search. He'd graduated a year ago, but was still looking for the right opportunity. But Reggie kept at it. "I'm just looking out for her," he said, his tone superior. "Emily's let herself go a bit since college. It's natural, I guess, but we don't want it getting out of hand." I couldn't take it anymore. "Knock it off, Reggie," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. "Emily looks great, and even if she didn't, it's none of your business." Reggie's face darkened. "Mind your own business," he snapped. "This is between me and my girlfriend." Emily jumped in then, defending Reggie. "He's just concerned about my health." she said, but her voice was small, uncertain. "You're ruining the evening, sis." It turned into a huge argument. Dad tried to mediate, but his face was getting red with stress, which only made me more angry at Reggie for causing this scene. Mom was near tears, looking between Emily and me like she didn't know what to do. In the end, Emily and Reggie left early. As they were walking out, I saw Reggie grab Emily's arm, whispering something in her ear that made her flinch. But when I called out, asking if she was okay, Emily just gave me a weak smile and said everything was fine. She hasn't spoken to me since, except to send a text saying I owed Reggie an apology for embarrassing him. Our parents are torn, not wanting to take sides, but also clearly concerned about Emily. I'm worried sick about my sister. I see so many red flags in her relationship with Reggie, but I don't know how to help her see them too. Am I overreacting? Should I apologize to keep the peace or stand my ground? I love my sister more than anything and want to protect her, but I feel like I'm losing her to this guy who doesn't treat her right. I keep thinking back to when we were kids, how Emily would always stand up for me when the other kids teased me for being a bookworm. She was fearless then, ready to take on the world. Now it's like that fire inside her has been extinguished, and I don't know how to relight it. Any advice would be appreciated. I'm scared for Emily and don't know what to do next. How do I help my sister when she doesn't seem to want help? First update. It's been about a month since my last post, and to say a lot has happened would be an understatement. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and support. Your words gave me the strength to keep fighting for my sister. After the dinner incident, Emily continued to ignore my calls and messages. Our parents were trying to stay neutral, but I could tell they were worried too. Mom would call me every day, asking if I'd heard from Emily, her voice tight with concern. Dad tried to act like everything was normal, but I noticed he was spending more time than usual in his workshop, tinkering with old radios, something he only did when he was really stressed. Then, about 2 weeks after the dinner, Dad's health took a turn for the worse. He woke up in the middle of the night, struggling to breathe. Mom called an ambulance and he was rushed to the hospital. The doctors said he had developed a dangerous arrhythmia, likely triggered by stress. When I called Emily to let her know, she finally picked up. Her voice was small and scared, reminding me of when we were kids and she'd crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. She said she'd come to the hospital right away. Emily arrived about an hour later, but Reggie was with her. He acted all concerned about Dad, asking the nurses detailed questions about Dad's condition. But when the doctor was explaining Dad's treatment plan, I caught Reggie rolling his eyes and checking his watch. Emily noticed too, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Over the next few days, we took turns staying with Dad at the hospital. It was during one of these visits that Emily and I finally had a chance to talk alone. Reggie had gone to get coffee, and Emily turned to me with tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I should have listened to you." It all came pouring out then. How Reggie had been controlling every aspect of her life, from what she wore to who she talked to. How he'd convinced her to drop out of college, saying she didn't need a degree when she had him. How he'd been threatening to share some private photos of her if she ever tried to leave him. I was furious, but I tried to stay calm for Emily's sake. We came up with a plan. Emily would pretend everything was normal while we gathered evidence of Reggie's behavior. I helped her install a hidden camera in their apartment, with her permission, of course, and set up a new email account where she could forward any threatening messages from Reggie. Over the next couple of weeks, we collected quite a bit of evidence. There were videos of Reggie verbally abusing Emily, screenshots of his threatening texts, and even a recording of him admitting to going through her phone and social media accounts. During this time, Dad was released from the hospital. His doctors stressed the importance of a calm, stress-free environment for his recovery. This actually worked in our favor, as it gave Emily a valid reason to spend more time at our parents' house, away from Reggie. One night, while Emily was staying over, we stayed up late talking, just like we used to. She told me about her dreams of becoming a teacher, how she'd given them up because Reggie said it was a waste of time. She cried as she admitted how much she missed her old friends, the ones Reggie had driven away with his possessive behavior. "I don't know who I am anymore," she said, her voice breaking. "How did I let this happen?" I held her as she cried, promising her that we'd figure it out together. In that moment, I saw a glimpse of the old Emily, the one who used to face every challenge head-on. With all the evidence we'd collected, Emily finally felt ready to end things with Reggie. We went to the police together and filed a report. The officer who took our statement, a kind-faced woman named Officer Chen, took it very seriously, especially given the threats and emotional abuse. Officer Chen advised us on safety measures, and we came up with a plan for Emily to break up with Reggie. For safety reasons, she did it via text, then immediately blocked him on everything. We changed the locks on her apartment and stayed with her for a few days to make sure she was safe. Reggie didn't take it well. He showed up at Emily's workplace, a small bookstore where she'd recently started working part-time. He caused a scene, yelling about how Emily was ruining his life and that she'd regret this. Thankfully, Emily's boss, a no-nonsense woman named Gloria, called the police. Reggie was arrested for harassment, and Emily got a restraining order against him. It's been a tough few weeks, but Emily is doing better. She's in counseling now, working through the trauma of her relationship with Reggie. Our parents have been incredibly supportive. Mom's been cooking all of Emily's favorite meals, and Dad's been teaching her how to do small repairs around the house. His way of helping her regain her independence. Emily's staying with our parents for now, focusing on healing and rebuilding her confidence. She's talking about going back to college to finish her teaching degree, and I can see that old spark returning to her eyes when she talks about it. To those who are in similar situations or know someone who is, please don't give up. It took time, but Emily finally saw the truth about her relationship. I'm just grateful I was there to support her through it all. Thank you again for all your support and advice. It really helped me navigate this difficult situation. We still have a long road ahead, but for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful about Emily's future. Second update. It's been about 3 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some developments in our situation. Emily has been making great progress in her recovery. She's still living with our parents, but she's started looking for her own place again. The counseling sessions have been really helpful, and I can see glimpses of her old, confident self coming back. Last week, she even dyed her hair purple, something she'd always wanted to do, but Reggie had never allowed. Unfortunately, we've had some issues with Reggie. Despite the restraining order, he's been trying to contact Emily through mutual friends and fake social media accounts. Each time we report it to the police, but it's been frustrating and scary for Emily. Officer Chen has been great, always taking our calls seriously and following up on every incident. Last month, things escalated when Reggie showed up at our parents' house. Dad was home alone and answered the door, not knowing who it was. Reggie tried to push his way in, demanding to see Emily. Dad, despite his health issues, managed to keep him out and called the police. Reggie fled before they arrived, but it left us all shaken. After this incident, we decided to install security cameras around the house. Emily was hesitant at first, feeling like she was putting our family in danger, but we assured her that we're in this together. Dad even made it into a project, researching the best systems and installing everything himself, under my watchful eye, of course. On a positive note, Emily has reconnected with some old friends she had drifted away from during her relationship with Reggie. Her best friend from high school, Sarah, has been especially supportive. Sarah's been coming over regularly, bringing movies and ice cream, just like they used to do in high school. Last weekend, Sarah organized a small welcome-back party for Emily. It was just a few close friends, but it was wonderful to see Emily laughing and enjoying herself again. We've also been working on rebuilding our sibling relationship. Emily apologized for not listening to my concerns earlier, and I apologized for sometimes being too pushy with my opinions. We've started having weekly sister nights, just the two of us, where we watch movies, cook dinner, or just talk. Last week, we attempted to recreate Mom's lasagna recipe. It was a disaster. We somehow managed to burn the edges while leaving the middle raw, but we laughed so hard about it that our stomachs hurt. Dad's health has been stable, which is a relief. He and Mom have been rocks through all of this, providing a safe haven for Emily and supporting her recovery. Mom started a garden in the backyard, and she and Emily spend hours out there, planting vegetables and flowers. I think the simple act of nurturing something and watching it grow has been therapeutic for Emily. The legal case against Reggie is progressing. The prosecutor thinks they have a strong case, given the evidence we collected and Reggie's violation of the restraining order. Emily is nervous about potentially having to testify, but she's determined to see this through. She's been working with a victim advocate from the local domestic violence shelter, preparing for what to expect in court. There have been moments of fear and doubt. Emily still has nightmares sometimes, and certain things can trigger memories of her time with Reggie. But she's handling these moments better now, using techniques she's learned in counseling. She's also started keeping a journal, which seems to help her process her emotions. Emily is focusing on rediscovering herself and her interests outside of the relationship. She started volunteering at the local animal shelter, something she's always wanted to do, but Reggie had discouraged. She comes home from her shifts covered in dog hair, but with the biggest smile on her face. She's even talking about going back to school to finish her teaching degree. Thank you all for your continued support and kind words. It means more than you know. We're taking it one day at a time, celebrating the small victories and supporting each other through the tough moments. Third update. It's been about 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to share the latest developments in our situation. The biggest news is that the court case against Reggie has concluded. Emily did end up having to testify, which was incredibly difficult for her, but she was brave and composed throughout the process. I sat in the courtroom and my heart swelled with pride as I watched my little sister stand up to her abuser. In the end, Reggie was found guilty of harassment and violation of the restraining order. He's been sentenced to probation and mandatory counseling, and the restraining order has been extended. Emily has moved into her own apartment, which was a big step for her. She was nervous at first, but we made sure to set up a good security system, and she's gradually becoming more comfortable living on her own again. We spent a weekend painting the place together. Emily chose a bright yellow for the living room, saying she wanted her home to feel sunny and warm. There was a bit of drama when we were helping Emily move. Reggie's sister showed up, trying to guilt Emily into giving Reggie another chance. She claimed Reggie was a changed man, and that Emily was ruining his life. Emily stood her ground, telling her firmly that she wanted nothing to do with Reggie. I was so proud of her in that moment. Reggie's sister left in a huff, but not before warning Emily that she'd regret this. We reported the incident to Officer Chen, just to be safe. On a happier note, Emily has started a new job at a local nonprofit organization that works with at-risk youth. It's a cause she's passionate about, and it's been great to see her enthusiasm for work again. She comes home with stories about the kids she's helping, her eyes lighting up as she talks about their progress. She's also made some new friends through work, which has helped expand her support network. Our family dynamics have continued to improve. Emily and I are closer than ever, and she's been spending more quality time with our parents too. Dad's health has been stable, and he's even started joining us for short walks in the park. Last week, we all went to the local fair together, something we hadn't done as a family since Emily and I were teenagers. We rode the Ferris wheel, ate too much cotton candy, and laughed at Dad's attempts to win Mom a stuffed animal at the ring toss. Emily has been sticking with her counseling, and it's really showing. She's more confident, more assertive, and she's learning to trust her own judgment again. She's even started dating again, very casually. She met a guy named Alex at a book club, and they've been on a few coffee dates. Emily's taking it slow, but it's nice to see her opening herself up to the possibility of a healthy relationship. There have been some challenging moments. Emily still has nightmares sometimes, and certain things can trigger memories of her time with Reggie. A few weeks ago, we were at the grocery store and ran into one of Reggie's friends. Emily froze up, but then took a deep breath and calmly walked past him. Later, she told me she used a grounding technique her counselor taught her. It was a small moment, but it showed how far she's come. We've had some issues with rumors spreading around our small town. Some people, mostly Reggie's friends and family, have been painting Emily as the villain, saying she exaggerated everything for attention. It's been hard for Emily to deal with, but she's handling it with grace. She's focused on living her life and not letting their gossip affect her. Overall, we're in a much better place than we were a year ago. Emily is rediscovering her independence and self-worth, and it's beautiful to see. There's still a long road ahead, but we're facing it together as a family. Emily talks about the future now, her plans, her dreams. She's even considering going back to school to get her teaching degree. Last night, Emily and I were sitting on the porch of our parents' house watching the sunset. Out of nowhere, she turned to me and said, "Thank you for not giving up on me." I hugged her tight, feeling grateful for how far we've come. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your advice and kind words have been a source of strength for us. We're taking it one day at a time, but we're moving forward, and that's what matters.